Hello. Hey,
Hello.
ladies. How are
Hey,
y'all doing thank
Doing good. How about you?
great.
Good. We accidentally all wearing the same colors
I
on.
know,
Lord,
right?
coordinating.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah, great minds think alike.
Hmm.
So, how was your day today?
It was good.
That's good. Productive. It was good.
Okay, okay. Absolutely. Well, I'm Mary, and we have Rhonda and Erica, and this is Life in Sync, where we're here every Tuesday night. Real women, real talk, real life, and we talk about numerous types of subjects and things that are happening in our lives and in the lives of other people, in order to try to empower you and inspire you, and motivate you to get to where you need to be to fulfill your God-given purpose. And so tonight our topic is composure under pressure. Composure under pressure. Have you ever just been in a place where you had so many things going on in your life? You felt like the walls were closing in on you. If just one more thing happened, you don't know what you're going to do. And you just
Yes,
feeling like, okay,
indeed.
this is going wrong. This is falling apart. Or I got deadlines to meet. I got people depending on me.
Hmm.
I got to be at a certain place at a certain time. I'm only one person. So, how do I keep my composure when I'm under pressure? We all feel pressure. We all go through things. We all have responsibilities. We all have different roles that we play at different times in our lives. But it's so important for us to keep our composure. So, composure under pressure. First of all, what is composure? Composure is the state or feeling of being calm and in control of oneself. So basically, composure means self control, holding yourself together. And one of the most interesting things about composure, and a synonym being self control, is that self control is one of those fruits of the spirit. Am I correct? You got to have
Hmm.
self
Yes,
control. So that's one
indeed.
of the things, that the Holy Ghost provides for us as well, is the ability to remain under control in Him. But pressure. So, what is pressure? Pressure is a burden of physical or mental distress. We've all had physical distress. We have things that are stressing us externally, causing a lot of problems with us on the inside. And we've also had a lot of mental, distress, things that we've experienced in our lives, whether it was the pressures of life, um, things happening unexpectedly, getting bad news, someone becomes sick all of a sudden. You might lose your job. You might get promoted. It is the pressure is not always a negative thing, but it requires us more. It requires for us to be able to maintain our character, understanding who we represent here in the earth, making sure that we have that self control and that we're doing the things that we need to do in order to keep our composure. And this just stems for a couple of conversations that we had earlier this week, about the things that were happening in our lives. But the key component is that we maintain self control.
Hmm.
Not that the issue was a, a bad thing, but sometimes even in some of those good times, we don't want to lose control. So
Hmm.
maintaining our self control, composure under pressure. So, Erica, I'm going to start with you. You can give us some stories, some examples, some strategies of what you do when you start to feel the pressures of life.
Wow. Who doesn't feel the pressure of life frequently, especially when you're on the move? When you've got things going on, when you've got goals, you've got deadlines, you're going to feel the pressures of life. And the tactics that I use to get through it is to remain focused. And I say that a lot, just about with every topic, but it's so important to stay focused on your task. Not only just stay focused on your task, stay focused on the goal. What is it
Hmm.
that you're trying to accomplish in the end? Because if you start getting sidetracked, if you're, on your way to completing a goal, on your way to completing a degree in school, and you've got life happening all around you, yes, you can't just let it sit to the side and not deal with it. You have to put it in its place, give it its proper attention. You
Hmm.
can't give it all of your time. You have to schedule, you have to be intentional about putting certain things in certain places, and then you can move on. Once you've done all you can do, in that specified amount of time with that problem or that issue, you can put a cap on the box and move on to the next place. And then you keep on doing those stair steps until you get to your goal. So for me, what has worked is maintaining priorities, putting everything in its right place. And I guess the correct term is compartmentalization, putting it in its own compartment. Like I said, long term, that's not a healthy thing to do, but to get you through a crisis, to get you through stressors, that's what helped me. That kept me from being overwhelmed. And if you've got too many things going through your head at the same time, and you're thinking you've got all these strings, I mean, you feel like a puppet with 100 strings from you, and then everybody's pulling at one direction. Sometimes you got to snip and cut some of those strings and say, I'm gonna tie them back later. I'm just gonna handle these strings right now, these responsibilities. So I have to stay focused. You know, as women, we're multitaskers. That's our job. We wear multiple hats, but you have to know how much time you can give to each area so you don't get overwhelmed and then end up getting nothing done. And I find myself doing that a lot, you know, have my hands in too many things, doing a little bit here, a little bit there. And at the end of the day or at the end of the month, whatever my goal was, I didn't finish anything. I just put a little bit everywhere and I spread myself too thin. So I had to learn that I had to set those priorities, learn to say no, and that's how I can get things done. And that's what works for me.
Keeping yourself under control. What about you, Rhonda? Composure under pressure.
Yeah, I agree with Erica. You have to, keep yourself under control. Everything that she pointed out. But as for me, when I'm under pressure, I have no choice but to draw closer to God or draw closer to my faith, to see me through. I just experienced something just yesterday, it started last weekend, but that I had to actually walk through. And it caused me to draw closer, in order to maintain strength and maintain peace of mind, because all things come at you when you are under pressure, all kind of thoughts, doubts. And we also have to remember why is the pressure coming. We all know that it's beyond what we see in the physical. So anytime pressure is being applied, we have to really know, like, why. We have to think or wonder or seek the answer. Why is pressure being applied in this time? And most of the time it's because of what the making of you, or the making of whatever you're doing at this time. And so we have to remember that when pressure comes, that's our time to draw near, and it's not time to be fearful, because the scripture tells us he did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. So this is not the time to be fearful. This is the time to draw close to him, or draw near, as James said. But when you think about pressure, I think about how a pearl is made, oysters are made, and it's by chance that most of the oysters, they originate from the Mississippi River. and and look, we're some Mississippi girls. But when oysters are made, they're made because of a parasite or something has gotten a hold to it that it has not let go. It has gotten into it. Some people say a grain of sand or things of that nature, but it's actually like a parasite. And so what that oyster does, it grinds and it grinds on it, trying to expel it. So with that pressure, it has created something beautiful, that we use for multiple things, and so when you really realize you're under pressure, that you're being made, in times like that, that's when you're being made. Your character, your integrity, your faith is being built in those times. So I say, when you're feeling that pressure, with me, I have to draw closer to my faith to maintain that strength, that peace of mind, and to know that, in the end, that no matter what happens, I have the victory.
That's it.
No matter what the outcome is, that we have the victory.
Absolutely. I always go back to time. It takes so much maturity and it takes a lot of growth and
Mm-hmm.
everybody has a different journey
Mm-hmm.
to get to that place. But I know, in previous seasons when I was under pressure, especially when I wasn't as mature as I was,
Mm-hmm.
man, if something happened, being a verbal person, I'm finna let somebody have it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm finna cut up. I'm about to show out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finna read you your rights. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna preach your funeral, talk in its place,
Yes, we know what you're saying.
because, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't always where I was. Where I am now is not always where I've been. So there
Mm-hmm.
were times when I didn't draw close to God. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
there were some times when I didn't walk away from particular situations.
Mm-hmm.
If that's where you wanted it at, that's where you finna get it. Used to be my motto. You think you
Mm-hmm.
start quoting Tupac lyrics, ain't no killer, but don't push me. You just start getting real dangerous.
Yeah.
But it cost me some things.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
even in the consequences of losing your composure, there's lessons to be learned.
Yes, indeed.
And as you mature, as you go through life, as you begin to gain things, as you begin to see cycles and see different patterns in your life that are necessarily positive, as you continue to be in a place where you feel like you're not really moving or going anywhere, you have to kind of start to do that self-reflection again to see where is it, am I in control of myself? Am I losing my composure? Do I have my emotions under control? Am I just
Mm-hmm.
going to be known as the fool my whole life? You know what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
people will cheer you on while you acting a fool.
Mm-hmm.
You're the person
Sure
that's going to
will.
say what nobody else will say. Even if it's out of order, they still going to be cheering for you.
Uh-huh.
But at the end of the day, they're going to leave you by yourself. Because
Exactly.
they'll use, what the Bible says, a fool speaks all of his mind. And so in that keeping that composure, like you mentioned, in the being under pressure, even in those times when we handle things wrong, there's still lessons to be learned. So you mentioned, Erica, you mentioned being focused, and it's so important that we don't get distracted and that we focus,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times, especially when we're going through life and we're going through that struggle, because I was talking to Erica earlier today, and we were talking about how we used to do agency nursing, and we had different reasons why. We had full-time jobs, but we also did agency nursing, so that we can make extra money. And our paths would cross way back in the day, working all those different shifts at the different hospitals. Even so much so where I was working 6 or 7 days a week, showing up at work with 2 different shoes on, not even having time to look
Yup.
down and make sure my
Did it.
shoes was on straight. So just being under pressure, trying to pay bills, trying to go to school, trying to raise kids. You have a sick child that needs your attention. You got another child that needs your attention in another way. You still trying to maintain relationships that need to be cut off, but you're still trying to hold on to things because you're not quite mature yet, and you're not quite in a place where
Mm-hmm.
you are actually doing the things that you need to do. But even in that, being under pressure, it doesn't take too much to happen for you to explode if you don't have self-control. It won't take too much for you to show out,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have self-control. And other people, where some people may show out be verbally aggressive, I put it like that. Other people might withdraw. Other people might
Mm-hmm.
quit.
Right.
I'm
Hmm.
very sensitive to people working really hard trying to make it through. And so just given you're under so much pressure and under so much stress, things get hard. And a lot of times as it relates to seeking God, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and learning how to do chapter 4 to be anxious for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Be anxious for nothing. And then you go to the point where it says, whatsoever things are pure and true and lovely and just and you know, whatsoever things are worthy of praise, think on these things. And
Mm-hmm.
so we have to be purposeful in how we think, purposeful in how we focus, and make sure that we're maintaining, because you don't want to be the fool in the group.
You're right about
You don't want to be a
that.
fool on the job.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Because you're
Yeah.
gonna be a fool by yourself, like you
Uh,
said,
If you
when you
got
lose
anything
your
to add,
composure. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. Well,
they're
you know,
gonna reach
as
out to myself.
as she stated earlier about flying off the handle, it's just the difference is once you do mature, you fly off the handle, but it's just in a different way.
Right,
So
right.
you learn that yes, I still do fight back, but I fight back differently now. I
Constructive.
use different weapons now. And so that's the difference between that maturity. Pressure is going to bring about, it should bring about a fight in you. You
Right.
know,
Yes.
anytime you've
Yes.
been backed up against the wall or something is coming at you, you're going to want to retaliate in some kind of way. It's just now that we know, well, those who are mature enough to know, now we just fight back and retaliate in a different way, you know. But the fight is there.
Right.
Don't
And
lose the fight.
right. And after every fight, you're gonna be different. Every fight, you're going to take a lesson with you. You might have a bruise, you might have a punch or a cut, but just
Yes.
guess what? That wound is going to heal, and it's going to be just that much stronger. So every time you get into a battle, anytime you get in pressure or under stress, you're going to be stronger, and you're going to be different, and you're going to be better. But if you lay down and take those punches when you're in pressure and you're in a fight and you lay down and take it, don't try to get back up, you're just as weak as you were before it began.
Yeah.
So it's important to know that when you're in a pressured situation, when you are in a stress, you're stressed out, you just can't lay down and say, you know what, I give up. I ain't getting out of bed today. I'm calling into work today. I ain't answering my phone. Nobody
Can't
better
do it.
call me. Guess what? You got to get up and make this thing happen.
Mm-hmm.
Life gonna keep on passing you by. You got to get up and say, you know what? Let me put these gloves on. I am a formidable opponent. Let's
That's
get
it.
it. And you
That's
got to get
it.
up and fight. You
Mm-hmm.
got to fight because ain't nobody else gonna do it for you. And if you do have somebody to come in and help you do it for you, how long they gonna fight? This your battle, not theirs. And if you, just like Rhonda said, she leaned on her faith, just like Mary said, you call on God, he'll give you the power in your fist to punch this fight. He'll fight it for you. He'll grace you. He'll give you what you need just so
Mm-hmm.
you can get to your goal. You can get to that finish line. So don't lay down and take it. Get up and fight. You got it in you. You can do it.
Yeah. And then too, when you're under pressure and you're fighting, I'm reminded of, when I went through basic training and they was teaching us different skills and of
all right.
fighting, and so you got to know what to use in that time. Different things are calls for, different situations are calls for different weapons, different ways to defend yourself. So you just have to know. I mean, that just came to my mind. I was thinking about those different ways. We was taught hand on hand combat. We was taught how to use a rifle. We was taught how to. I mean, you're learning different ways, and so you got to know what I need to do. Your fight under pressure, your fight back might be actually just to keep walking.
Yeah.
Your fight back might be in prayer.
Yeah.
That the other fight back might be being more disciplined in another area. So just know what it is. Know you need different ways to combat against pressure and what's coming at you.
And Rhonda, I kind of side note, but when you talked about the military, people don't know how tough you really are. I will never forget the story you said you was in the army and you broke your femur and you kept on going.
Yes.
Tell people how you fought that and you kept going. I'm like, what?
Look, I could not come back to Mississippi. You hear me? Discharged. I had made it too far. And I was like, I gotta see myself through. My leg was black, it was swollen. My drill sergeant at the time, they were supposed to recycle me, but I begged them to let me finish. I told them I can do it. They was like, "You really think you could do it?" I said, "I can do it."
What a broke leg.
With a cracked femur. I'm telling you, I begged them because I did not want to have to go through that again. And then on top of that, I did not want to fail. I knew I didn't want to feel defeated. I didn't want to be defeated. I knew that it was in me. So I gave myself time and made it through. Let me tell you something. I might not have ran my best, but I made it. Look, I'm on a video. I have the video. I went through the gas chamber on crutches. It's on the video. I'm coming out of the gas chamber, girl, on crutches. I climbed the wall with one leg. One leg, you hear me? I was determined. I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop because once you go through that extreme pressure like that, let me tell you something. You don't want to relive it. You don't want to have to go through nothing like that again. So you fight your way to the end till you see the victory. And that was what was going through my mind. I cannot go through this again.
With a broke leg.
And I did it.
Wow.
Did it.
That is not.
I ended up getting promoted when I went to AIT for PET. For PT.
Promotion for pushing through the pressure. Go on, Rhonda. Yeah. And how old were you?
18.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Yep.
And you know what? I think back to another key thing too was my dad too. You know, I did not want to go back to him a failure. You hear me?
Yeah. Wow.
Because he didn't want me to go anyway.
I see.
So I could not do that. So honey, I had to push through.
Even in the midst of controversy, you had made up in your mind that you weren't going to fail. And so you pushed through that pressure, the pain, physical and mental and emotional, and you pressed forward with a broke leg and hopped through the gas chamber and climbed the wall and everything. Wow. And that girl right there is bad.
And you know, as you're talking about this, I'm beginning to even think like my downtime when I couldn't actually do everything that everybody else was doing. The whole deal was I had to be ready by the end. That's what my drill sergeant was telling me. So even though I really couldn't do a lot on my leg, I used that to improve in other areas that I could function in. And so, and that's how I ended up getting promoted because, hey, I started doing more push-ups. I started doing more sit-ups. So I was able to score real high. And that will compensate for the areas that I was kind of lacking in. Wow. So some areas, you know, when we're going through pressure, yeah, you might get hurt, you might get damaged, but just know you have other areas that you could be improving. While this seems like it's being it's stagnant or you being at a loss.
Wow. Impressive. Mary, did you know that? Did you know that story, Mary? I guess she did. Oh, for all who didn't know, Rhonda is a tough cookie. She pressed through. Perseverance. That's right, Leslie. Perseverance.
Yeah, we all are. You know, it might not be my story, but we all have had those, you know, just in our conversations with each other. You know, things that Mary says she has went through, that she has persevered through.
No, she said she was a soldier in the army. That's all. She hadn't told me that one.
Oh man. Wow.
Yeah. So it's important to
can you hear
persevere. Me? Now we can hear you. Is she free?
We got to push forward, push towards the mark of the high calling. We got to keep our eye on that prize for completion of the thing. And when we complete it, we become satisfied. We have gratification that we accomplished our goal. So important. Yes, ma'am. And keeping our composure while we're in the midst of pressure. So important. And just think, Rhonda, while you was in the army, you had broke your cracked femur. What if you just got attitude? What if you just said, you know what? I ain't doing this. Y'all gonna do this. Y'all gonna do that. You wouldn't have got promoted. If you would not have kept your composure, if you would have got out of character, got out focused, because you already said you knew you couldn't go home, you knew you wanted to complete it. What if you just decided you just got, just I ain't doing it. I'm not gonna do it. I don't like it. You would have missed out on a whole opportunity just because you were temporarily hurting. You was temporarily under pressure. Man, that's a lesson within itself. Yeah, don't give in to temporary pressures and stressors. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
And just know that all pressure and all stresses, they're temporary. And when I say temporary, it may just be a day, a week, a month, a year, but it's not going to last your lifetime. You may think it will, but it won't. It won't last the whole time. So don't give in to those temporal things. You have to keep focused on the eternal thing. What is your ultimate goal? Hi, Mary.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you can. Oh, good. I'm under pressure, trying to keep my composure. To stay on here.
You're doing a good job.
Internet. So, really just want to encourage everybody. Make sure that you're not crumbling under pressure. Make sure that you're maintaining your composure. Make sure that, as we said, don't quit, fight. And, if some of your tools for how you fight need to be improved, fight in prayer, fight in worship, vent to a very close friend. Some people are like me, I have to talk it out first. And so once I talk it out, it relieves a lot of the pressure that I'm under when I'm able to talk it out, but only talk it out and vent to people I can trust. Especially when I'm upset or I'm feeling pressure about something. So, great conversation. Now we know Rhonda is really, really tough.
Yeah.
And
yes, she is.
So what Veterans Day includes you, right?
That's right.
Happy Veterans Day to Rhonda. And Veterans Day is tomorrow. And to all the other veterans, thank you for your service.
And then we can't forget.
Have any final words?
Yeah, I was gonna say Happy Nurse Practitioners Week to y'all.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for all y'all do. You putting your life on the line for us, especially at a time like this, to keep persevering through this time. Most you're working under pressure now, So hey.
Well, thank you. Yes, ma'am. To all of those healthcare workers out there, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, all right. Yeah.
Enjoy y'all on tonight.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. This is Life in Sync, and we hope that you receive something as we discuss composure under pressure. Don't lose your cool. Stay cool. Don't lose your composure. Stay focused on your goals. So we will see you all back next week, same time, same place.
So that's it for Life in Sync.
All right.
We hope that you all have a great night, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.